It's a standard height table and chairs that come to about 30 inches from the ground to the top of the table. And what we'd like to do is go ahead and raise it up about 6 more inches. Not a problem. Pretty simple solution actually. Coming right up. To start out with, I took a 2x4 and I actually ran them through the table saw in order to get the approximate size of the table legs at the very bottom. The table legs are wider at the top of the table, and as they come down they get smaller. And so at the very bottom they're pretty close to about this size right here. This isn't a perfect plan. It's not like furniture building 101. This is just a way in case you've got a kitchen table and you want to raise it up a little bit more. This may help you out. This may be a solution. If you know how to work with a few saws, with some glue and some pegs, a drill, you could probably do this yourself. Now what I'll do is once I get this done and these legs are on here, I'll go ahead and sand them off, sand these rough edges off right here. I'll put a little tab at the bottom, put some felt at the bottom. That way you can scoot your table around, no problem at all. In order to do this project, I had to go to the hardware store, and you know how much I love the hardware store. And I picked me up some Tight Bond premium wood glue. This nice little Dow kit. It costs $6.37. Actually has some instructions on the back just in case you want to do it. Okay, so one of the first things I'll do is on the actual bottom of the table leg, I'll just take this straight edge. I want to line up this corner coming up and the exact opposite corner. You eyeball it and get it pretty straight, and go ahead and just mark your line across there. Then of course you want to mark the other side, one corner to the other corner like that, and that gives you the exact center to that leg that's coming up. And so that's where I'm going to drill straight down through the center. I got my drill bit set in place. I took my little dowel pin that I'm going to use and I marked it right here, which is halfway, and at that halfway mark is where I set my depth finder. So I kind of push down, make a little indentation, and then you are ready to drill. Now you want to try to make sure your drill is about straight up and down as you can get it. Spacer is pretty nice because it won't allow me to drill farther in than I need to. And that is where my dowel pin will go in and fit in there real nice. Now make sure everything fits on there just right before I go to glue everything together. Okay, now on the extension leg itself, just go from corner to corner. Now if you're good at a drill, if you're good at tools, you can do what I just did. Beginner, I wouldn't be holding it and trying to drill it like that. I'd probably put it in a vise or have a different way to hold it, because if you did slip off, there's a good chance you're going to hit your hand. My dowel pin, and it is actually going to fit in there. Hello, Jazz. Would you come to help? My leg extension will fit on there and go down on there like that. Hey, hey, away with you. Now it looks to me, hey, buddy, would you move? Thank you. Looks to me like I've got to go down a little bit farther on one or the other, because I've got a little gap here and I want to make sure that that's going to go down and sit on there nice and tight. You have a nice solid setting. The two surfaces are setting on each other, and that's exactly what I'll take my Tight Bond 2 glue, put some down in this hole, in the hole on the extension, put my dowel pin in there, put that on there, and then I'll put a little bit around this surface right here, and once I put it down on there, it will be good to go. I haven't figured out the chairs just yet, but I think this is a pretty good system right here, and it's going to work pretty good for the table itself. Hey Sammy, what's going on, buddy? What's going on? Did you come to help too? Boy, I've got all kind of helpers today. Hello, buddy. Well, look, do you think that looks okay? This right here? Huh? Alright. Alright, bud. Get out of my face now. I got some gluing to do, and I got some work to do. Hey, I do appreciate you coming to the channel. I went ahead and got the leg extensions put on, dowel pinned them, glued them overnight. I wanted to have just a little extra support on them. You can buy these at any hardware store, and they are, I think they're like a hurricane strap, like an extra strength hurricane strap that you can put on as you're framing up a building. You can see this is the finished product right here, and I just cut them, nipped the sharp edges off of them, put a little spray paint on them, all four sides, just to give that extension a little extra strength. You never know, when you build something like this, you know, you think about a normal table set, how much it weighs, not much, but you never know. Somebody may come in with a bunch of boxes or something and lay them on one side of the table, and you just don't want an extension like this to give out. Even moving it from room to room, or even if you take a move from this home to another one, you just never know how it's going to be racked around and hit, and you just want to make sure these extensions are strong enough. Kind of adds a little bit of design to it too. I'll take some of this exact paint right here and I'll touch up these screw heads and make them kind of disappear. That's a pretty strong system. My struggle has been with the chair legs. What am I going to do with the chair legs? You can see they're kind of tapered. They're tapered from all four sides. Toward the bottom, the leg itself gets smaller. Drilling a hole through the center, putting an insert in it, taking a little leg like this right here, screwing it down, seeing if that would work. But the pressure point on that joint right there was too much. It was definitely a weak spot right there. Anytime you work on something like this, whether you weigh 150, 200 pounds, and you can sit on it and it works okay, you got to remember, you got to build it for 300 pounds, 350 pounds, because you don't know who's going to come over, who's going to sit in that chair. You don't know what kid's going to stand in that chair and start jumping around. So you want to make sure you always build something a lot stronger than you think it needs to be. So I got on YouTube and I searched everywhere. In fact, I got on Google and I searched everywhere how to extend the legs on a set of chairs. Nothing out there. Couldn't find a thing. It was even told to me if YouTube doesn't have a video on it, it can't be done. I strongly disagree. Schedule 40 pipe. And this is a coupling for it. Brown spray paint on it so it's all going to blend when it's all said and done. This pipe will not fit over, but the coupling will. So what I've done is I've taken this piece right here and I go over the top. It'll only slide down so far before the leg gets wider than the coupling itself. So I put that on there, and then my leg will go on there. The Schedule 40 pipe will screw on there like that right there. Once I get all four of them put on, stand back and look at them, make sure they're straight, take some screws and drill through this coupling into the wood on all four sides. And that is going to hold that coupling pretty solid. I'll glue the piece of pipe in the coupling, figure out the height that I want it, cut my pipe off, I'll put an end cap on the pipe. I want the chair legs to be 6 inches taller than they were. The table's 6 inches taller than it was. I want the chairs to match it. I say it can be done. What I have figured out as far as the leg extensions go, it's a little bit difficult to make them exactly right, to cut them and make sure everything is going to be exactly right. So you set your chair down and it doesn't want to wobble back and forth like this one's doing. But this is what I figured out how to solve that problem. Is once you've got your bases put on, you have your pieces cut, you have your bottom caps put on, and then I set it on a floor. Now it's very important that you have a very level floor, which this one is concrete, so it's very level. I can see where 3 legs are sitting. You want to get back and make sure that the chair is sitting level. 3 legs are hitting. This one has a gap under it. But it's very easy because I haven't glued them together yet. I'll just take and run this one down a little bit, just like that, and now the chair sits perfectly. So then once I have the chair sitting completely level on all 4 legs, I'll take a very thin Sharpie and I'll go around and I'll mark right where these 2 connections are, right here. And I mark all of them. Now what that's going to do is whenever I glue these together, whenever I take this bottom piece and I glue it into the base itself, I'll just slide it in. It hits the line that I've marked on there, and I know stop. The glue sets up so fast, the glue actually sets up just within seconds, and then it's ready to go. This is another one of those projects where there's no blueprints, there's no instructions. I don't even know if anybody's ever done this before. This may be the first thing. So this is the way it's working out so far, and I really like it. It's going to look nice. Take this piece off right here. I've got a nice line there marked out. I'll make sure the glue stays on top and doesn't go below the line right here. Doesn't take a lot of glue, just a little bit. Put it on there and go right down to your line. Now you got to be careful with this glue. I'm kind of getting a little reckless here by having it on this other table, this oak table that I'm working on. But I'm being pretty careful, so you just don't want to make a mess, because this glue, if it gets everywhere, you would have a mess on your hand. When you're working with PVC, you got to be sure and not hammer the pieces together unless you don't want them to move. But these pieces here, if you tried to hammer them down and then tried to pull them back out even without glue, there's no way. Man, they're just so solid. Alright, last piece here. Okay, so now I've got all 4 legs set up here and put some more screws in this bottom section. I not only have the power of the glue, which is the cement is sealed together now, but I want to go ahead and put a few screws at the bottom here just to make sure it's 100% solid. Plus, if that's the case, you don't want them to sit down on the chair and something happened, the chair failed, and it's just an embarrassment. Somebody could get hurt. It's just way better to always reinforce everything much more than you think you need. I'm actually going to put 2 screws on the front and the back. It's very important that everything is pre-drilled before you try to put your screw in. And then I'm going to put 1 on the inside. But I really like a table being higher. These are the screws that I'm installing the legs with. They're zinc plated sheet metal screws, number 8 by 1 inch. Now the chair's starting to get pretty strong now. Set it down. So I'm going to push my chair, so now these 3 legs here are hitting, this one is not. So I'll bring this one down to the floor. There we go. And now it's perfectly level, perfectly straight, and very sturdy. PVC is very inexpensive. I might have $50 in all the couplings and the pipe and the screws and everything I needed. I'm not so sure I even have that much. Okay, got everything painted up. Gonna let them dry for a day, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put some felt bottoms on them so they slide real smooth on the floor. And then once I turn them over, there'll be a little bit of touch up down here. 6-inch table leg and chair extension. 1.5 circles, and they go right on there. Self-sticking, and they work really well. So just in case you got a table and chairs, a wooden table and chairs that you're thinking about maybe going ahead and raising it up, 6 inches. So I raised the table up from its stock height of 30 inches to 36 inches. And then I added 6 inches to each chair, and that way everything lays out real nice right here. They turned out pretty nice. Now when you sit here at the table and you go to eat, it's just like you're sitting at a normal table, but it's a little bit higher. It kind of gives you a little more leg room. Okay, so this is probably going to be the very first video on the big platform of YouTube. How to raise your kitchen table and chairs up 6 inches and make it look good. Well, thank you for coming to the channel. That's LAF Space Film Fest. That's capital LAF Space Film Fest. Hey, if you would, hammer down that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Helps me to do videos like this. Share them with you. Hey, if you got some friends been talking about raising up their dining room table, share this video with them. I would appreciate it a lot. Chairs feel pretty sturdy. Pretty nice setup. All right. And you have a good day.